This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Excited to welcome back Lynn Winters from Keuker Energy Arts. She's a does certified hypnosis, past life regression. She's a Reiki master. She has many titles. We're going to go over some of the stuff she does today and focus a little on, well, size. We'll get to that in a sec. So first and foremost, Lynn, welcome back to the show. How are you feeling today?
Thank you. I'm feeling very well.
Great. Thank you so much for being here. Please introduce yourself to our listeners.
My name is Lynn Winters. I'm certified in Reiki and hypnosis. I also do teaching of energy work. I have a lot of clients that have certain conditions, and I created some Winters self-hypnosis recordings to help them with those conditions.
Yes. And, if you missed some of our shows, hopefully you can watch them, catch up a little bit here. But I know you've always been the seeker of wanting to know, to figure things out. Hence, you got into this field and you're helping so many different people basically transform their lives. And excited today to be back here. We're going to talk about the self-hypnosis series. Again, of course, your own series, your inner relationship with your body. And for today, did you want to start off with size? What was it about size?
Well, when I first became certified in hypnosis and I was living in Manhattan, I had one of my students who had a boyfriend that was a very wealthy entrepreneur, and he wanted me to record a hypnosis CD to help women lose weight and be thinner. He offered me a great amount of money, and I just could not do it. And I just struggled with it because I don't think that it's about size. I know a lot of my clients and hear what they say inside about what they feel about themselves or their bodies and the pressure that they feel from society to be one specific definition of beauty. And I couldn't bring myself to participate in the campaign to have people feel more, I would say, have the goal that they would have to be a certain size or a certain appearance to really feel good about themselves. When if you really look at people, every
Yeah.
single person is beautiful, every single one of them. And it doesn't have to do with size. And so that led me to think about, then what is it really about? And I
Mm.
think it's really about whatever your inner relationship is with your body. I had this woman who was a client, and she was absolutely stunning and so beautiful, but she hated herself. And in particular, she would have an ongoing hate for her hands. And it just seemed so, I'm going to say unrealistic, although it was very realistic to her, that that was how she judged herself. And so it made me think about how individual people have an ongoing relationship with their bodies. Sometimes they might not like their stomach, or they might not like their skin, or they might not like the whole entire appearance of themselves, or they're too tall or too fat. Or and I just felt like the body is the home of your soul. And so I think if we can shift our perspective to look at it that way and see the miraculousness of our body and how it functions, we would be in love with our bodies, and therefore it would be healthier, and we would be able to maybe combat this social pressure that we are feeling. And not it's not just women, it's also men. And I think it's not fair. So I just wanted to put that out there and encourage people to just shift their perspective and take a personal examination of what are they telling themselves about their body every day, all day long, and to maybe have a consciousness to send a different message to themselves all day.
Ah, yeah. And, with body image and the way it is today with social media and especially our youth, everyone's got, this in front of you all the time. And it's about looking good and looking the best and having the best clothes and being, wearing, having the best car. It's just, excuse me, a lot of
Yeah,
pressure on our size.
yeah, a lot of pressure. And I just think that it's not encouraged enough to, um, first of all, self-examine. I think without self-examination, there is no change. And so we really have to self-examine, what are we actually thinking and what are those thoughts causing us to feel? Because when you think about what makes someone the most attractive, it's confidence. It's them really knowing themselves and really representing themselves. And if you are constantly having a debate in yourself about uh, your weight or a certain size, or your teeth aren't white enough, or what, it doesn't matter what you've chosen to punish yourself about, your confidence level is going to be lower. So if we can just be more conscious of what we're thinking and telling ourselves and telling our body, and shift it to appreciating the miraculous design, I think we're going to feel more confident and actually have a healthier body.
Yeah, it's true. And I just hope that people will take this message to heart. And what if now, you hear when I originally heard of hypnosis when I was younger, my mom did it for like smoking. And then you hear about doing it, for weight loss, which a lot of people are doing. But then you hear all about this drug. Everyone's taking this drug.
Right.
Ozempic or whatever its name is, and we still don't know all the effects of it. And I had a friend who was just taking it, who actually had a detached retina. He's in his 40s. One of the side effects, you got to be careful with these medications. And I feel like hypnosis can serve as a great way to help you with this, non-invasively, right?
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I think that, as I said, if we first examine, why do you want to take those drugs? Are you
Hmm.
trying to satisfy an image idea that you have, or are you looking at a inner program that you might need to reprogram? And that's where self-hypnosis or hypnosis at all can really help you. I created the Winter Self-Hypnosis series
Yeah.
so that you would have an opportunity to really shift the way you're thinking about yourself. I created one called Body Balancing. So after I had that experience with the entrepreneur that wanted me to create a recording to help women be thinner, I started to think that maybe we need a recording to help people just love their body, and it needs to be balanced, because it's when it's off balance, that's when it gets sick. And that's also when we're not happy with ourselves. I
Got it.
don't want women to look at food, or men, and have a an ongoing obsessive perspective of depravity, that they can't eat this and they can't have that, and that, so that's all they're thinking about. I'd rather have them focus on looking at what they're actually thinking about their body, and go into their body and change that relationship. And so that recording takes you into your body, and actually has you talking to each body part and embracing it, and observing the miraculous system that's functioning in those body parts. And so if you are doing that recording, I mean, you do it over and over and over,
Got
it's
it.
going to change the way you live your life throughout the day. You're going to think about your body differently.
Beautiful. All right. Well, did you want to add anything more to this before we continue on and talk, more about the relationship with our body and, the benefits of what we could do with it with your self-hypnosis?
I think it's very uh, a possibility that you can change anything. But I think that you have to change it from the inside out,
Mm-hmm.
and not try to change something from the outside in. I think that empowering the inside and what your inner relationship is more important than empowering the outside and what society, or maybe a person, may be telling you is important about your physical body. So I just wanted to create an opportunity for people to self-examine and to reprogram themselves, to give them that support that they might not be getting from the outside.
Got it. Yeah, it's true. Well, we all, we're our own worst critic, our own
Yeah.
worst enemy, right? We hear that time and time again. And, I just feel, I hope people out there listening today know that you're worth so much. And we're all individuals and we're just so, we're all unique. And we got to learn to love our body, but that's so hard for some people.
Yes. Very, very, very hard for people. You know, it's really hard when we are bombarded in social media with what is
Yep.
valued. You know, I think that the generation that we're in, where We have so much information available to us, which is really a wonderful thing. But we also have to be very conscious of the impact that that may have on our thinking and therefore our feeling. I don't think that we are getting enough support in
Hmm.
thinking about ourselves in a positive, loving, self-compassionate way.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about the process and how this really does work because not everybody is aware of, what you have to offer and how that can help benefit someone and maybe change our image and our view of our own self.
It works by, first of all, hypnosis is all about relaxation and imaging. And so a hypnotist will take you through a long series of relaxation and suggestions for you to relax. And no one can make you do anything. You have your own free will. They can just help guide you into relaxation. Once you get into relaxation, you can go down through the layers through your conscious mind, past your analytical mind, and into your subconscious mind. And that's where your programming is. And if you believe that you're fat or you believe that you're ugly, I mean, I've seen many people. As a matter of fact, yesterday I was doing a uh, group Reiki session and they wanted to lie on the floor. And so there was this woman lying on the floor. There's several of them. And when I was over her, I thought, wow, she's really beautiful. And then I heard in my head, but she doesn't
Mm.
know it. She doesn't know it.
Aw.
And so it's going to get past whatever programming she may have where she doesn't know that she's beautiful and she may be thinking critical thinking because someone has told her that or society has reinforced it. But for her to develop the awareness of herself and her own beauty and close out the outside is what it will do. It will increase the messages from herself and change her thoughts and therefore change her feelings. So that's what I'm hoping for.
Yay. I want to hear about some more of the people that you've helped with this process. And is it something where we eventually break out of, listening to everything again and we change fully, or do we have to have a little bit of a tweak? Is that the word I'm
That's a
looking for?
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
word. That's a good word.
tweak.
I think that it's like anything. Repetition is really key for the brain. And the more you would do like the body balancing recording, or the more you reinforce your inner feelings with how much you love yourself, like maybe journaling or something like that. Maybe you have to shift your friends. Maybe some of your friends are very negative on the image perspective, and some are not. Maybe you need to turn off the television or the computer sometimes if it's connected to anything that's not self-loving. If it's not self-loving to you, turn it off.
Yeah.
You and what the recordings would do is it reinforces. So you need to reinforce it until that becomes a new mental familiar for you to think about, and that will impact your feelings. And as far as tweaking goes, I have known people that have done the recordings for a really long period of time and love them and really have a positive impact on them. But you do have to be committed to it and not get sidetracked from society again. And so you may need a tweaking or you may need to have a maintenance program for yourself. I have people that I see every month just to keep that going. So it depends. You have to be committed.
Yeah. Well, I love the work that you've done. I've listened to some of your testimonials, and for those that may not know, Lynn, do you want to share info about a session about someone you've helped? And also, can you combine the hypnosis with the energy healing? Does that also help somebody with their body image too?
Yes, I have often done Reiki sessions, private Reiki sessions with people, and also played the hypnosis recordings at the same time, and they love them. And so sometimes I'll do a set of three of them over a week, over a once a week period of time. And it really seems to help program them. And then I have had them text me and tell me that they're still thinking about it or the next couple of days, how it's actually in their consciousness now in their everyday life. So there are a lot of tools that you can use. They may not be popular, but you really want to change your thinking and your feeling, and that will help you do that. Another thing is that I find is people are not familiar with the level of self-commitment that it takes to change themselves. That would
Mm-hmm.
mean putting yourself into a consciousness of what you're thinking and feeling and who you want to become. And I say under all circumstances. So that's where the challenge comes. Sometimes people can't really trust themselves to keep a promise to themselves. That's
Mm-hmm.
challenging, but
Wow.
it's important.
Interestingly put. All right, good. What else did you want to discuss for us today?
I just would like to have people begin to take really good care of themselves. I don't think that we are encouraged to be that conscious of how we're treating ourselves or how we're thinking about ourselves. If it's something that you are thinking about, like for example, getting a bouquet of sunflowers for yourself, and then you talk yourself out of it,
Mm-hmm.
that those little things really matter. And making all of those choices that are self-loving, they will help you sustain this kind of perspective for yourself. We can only be as compassionate to others as we are to ourselves in everyday life.
So true. It really is. And, a lot of us struggle with that self-love and, yeah, giving us ourselves the credit that we deserve. But
Right.
I understand. And my mother, for example, let me just use her. I was thinking about her. She was, unfortunately, she passed 8 years ago, but she was always a negative Nancy. Like her energy was just everything's negative. The glass is always, half empty and everything you say, she'll like look for the negative in it, even if it's like a
Yes.
positive story. She was one of those people, right? And she had a smoking problem. She curbed it a little bit here and there. But when it comes to stuff like that, with this negative self-image, negative self, people sometimes say, well, that her mother was like that, her grandmother was like that. Is it coming from the past? Is that something our body image could come from our ancestors, from in the genetics? Is that something you've seen before?
That's a great question. There's so many things in that. First of all, you have to remember that we're in our mother's womb, and the energy that she is feeling and thinking, and even your father, from his energy that's in you at that
Mm-hmm.
time, you have not only inherited um, certain physical traits, but you've inherited energy traits from them
Yes.
also.
Okay.
And in addition to that, we are programmed to survive. And so a lot of times when people have this negative perspective, and I know people that do that all the
Mm.
time, um, I think it comes from two things. One is that they are trying to protect themselves and everyone, almost like always warning you about things, that they're almost obsessed with survival. And that's a great thing because we need to have survival and we need to know what's going
Yeah.
on and we want to survive. Like if a dinosaur's coming, we got to get out of the way.
Yeah.
However, it's important. However, when we're in survival, we're not creating. When we're creating, we feel inspiration, we feel hopeful, we feel excited about things, and we can't be in two energy fields at the same time. And so I think they're both important, but I think we have to have a consciousness about which ones we're in and how to get into the creative side of it. And so the people that I know that are doing the negative Nancy approach,
Mm-hmm.
and if I'll say to them, well, where would you like to go? And they'll begin by giving me a list of things they don't like. I don't like this. I don't like that. I'm not going to go there because of whatever. I will say, well, why don't you tell me what you do like? And it usually stops them because that's not how they think. So if you can find a way to not participate in and encourage that negative dialogue
Yeah.
by asking them what they do like, you'll get an answer of what you do like, and it kind of shifts the track a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is, yes, we are influenced by who we are parented by, but
True.
I also think that we have free will
Yeah.
and we can create anything we want and become anything we want, but we can't do it without our own consciousness at any given moment. And so that brings us to self-abandonment. We
Oh.
can't
Oh.
constantly abandon what we're thinking and feeling and expect to make conscious decisions to turn ourselves into the people that we know we can be.
I like that. I never thought about that. Ah, all right. Thank you for that. All right. And what else for today? We were on the focusing of the body. If you are just tuning in, I should have said earlier, Lynn Winters is here. If you haven't known, if you haven't tuned in yet, she's from upstate New York area, Finger Lakes to be exact, right?
Yes,
And what
yes.
city are you in?
Well, I live in a small town, but I work in the other cities, and I mostly work in Ithaca, New York.
Ithaca. Got it.
Yeah,
Okay, perfect. I could tie in. I know where that is. Awesome. And
isn't great.
as a Reiki master, she's been teaching for over 20 plus years. And again, she is certified in advanced hypnosis. We're talking about today for the body, but it's also for the mind, body, and the soul. All right. What else
Yeah.
about hypnosis did you want to share about helping people change, be better, be their better selves, I should say, with
One
your
of the
winter self hypnosis series, of course?
Thank you. One of the things that I think is really important about doing any kind of body work or Reiki or hypnosis is when
Mm-hmm.
you do those sessions, you are actually giving your body, I almost call it like a little seed. You're giving your body a sampling of relaxation
Yep.
and a different vibrational frequency than you're used to.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really important. If you have a really hard time beginning it, get help. Go to one of those uh, practitioners that would do Reiki or hypnosis or massage or reflexology or anything like that, and have them give you a treatment so that you have something to work on, so that you can get yourself to relaxation. And then when you're home, you've been there before, so it's more familiar for you to bring it back to yourself. I think that's really important.
It always is. I feel
Yeah.
like so many people, though, can also benefit from hypnosis. There's other reasons why people do hypnosis. Could you share a few that maybe people are not really too much aware of?
Yeah. Well,
And
people
even for
come,
like teenagers too, right? Maybe peer
oh,
pressure.
yes. Yeah, peer pressures. Oh boy, that's really, really strong. It takes a very strong individual to listen to themselves over the outside,
Mm-hmm.
whether you're a teenager or not. But I think that that is where it starts. I think it would be very good to have your teenager have the opportunity, even if it's monthly, to give them a treatment of Reiki or give them massage or something like that, even as a gift certificate, so that they can learn when they're young that taking care of themselves is a priority and that's the secret of life. And if they watch you do it, that's another thing. If they see that this is how you're taking care of themselves, they're going to copy you, whether it's the good way or the bad way.
That is so true,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it
Oh.
sure is.
And I just unfortunately lost my aunt yesterday to cancer. We've all lose, unfortunately, with loved ones. But also hypnosis can also help those with the grieving process too, right?
Yes. It helps with anything. It's about stopping and finding out what you think and what you feel. A lot of times in hypnosis, people are very surprised to hear the subconscious programming from themselves. It's not like the therapist is telling them anything. The therapist is really asking questions and they're answering it from a different level. And sometimes if they hear their own voice answering a perspective that they didn't know they had, but that they were living, it really helps them have the courage or self permission to make different choices for themselves. And
Ah,
grief is a whole separate, it's a whole separate programming. It's like being on a roller coaster and you
mm,
never know exactly where you're going to be, but just stay on the ride and you'll eventually get off it.
ah. And we still have 5 more minutes left in your show. What else did you want to make sure we cover for today?
I'd like to give you another breathing technique because I really
Sure.
think
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a
Let me sit upright.
I think it's a great idea to stop for 3 minutes. Stop for
Okay.
3 minutes throughout your day
Mm-hmm.
and start with breathing. So this
Okay.
breath is a very long, slow inhale. You're going to inhale on 5 counts, and I'll count them.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and gently hold your breath for 3. 1, 2, 3, and again, exhale on 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And do 3 of those. So do 2 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and hold your breath for 3, 2, 3, and exhale on 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to do one more. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and hold your breath for 3, 2, 3, and out for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can just sit there for the rest of the time for the 3 minutes. But breathing is a good place to start.
And this is how you wake up every day? What do you do? What is your routine in the morning to get your mindset in the right place for the day that maybe our listeners could benefit from too?
That's a good question. The first thing I do when I wake up is I self-evaluate. I see what I'm really thinking and feeling. And then once I get a bearing of where I am, I want to choose my intention for the day. What do I want to focus on? Do I want to focus on opening my heart more at all circumstances? Or do I want to focus on being in the present moment and just in the present moment? Do I want to focus on being still or slower? What's my intention for the day? And then I get up and I listen to positive thinking for a while. I call it my ed med time, where I give myself an education, and then I meditate after that. Then I start my day.
And at night to calm down, you do the breathing techniques and to
I always do. I always do the breathing techniques. I do them at night. I do them just before I meditate, gets me grounded. I do them whenever I feel like I'm getting off of the center that I want to have. Yeah, I use them all the time.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Do you listen to your own words for your own hypnosis sake, or are you past that because you've done it so much, or you're everywhere you want to be?
Oh no, I have to always live consciously forever.
Okay, good to know.
Yes, sometimes I use mine and sometimes I use other people's.
Beautiful. And did you want to highlight any upcoming sessions you have? I know you got the Wisdom Circle and some group hypnosis, I think, right?
Yes, in June, I will be teaching a Reiki training for 3 days, level 1 and 2. And level 1 is where you learn how to do Reiki on yourself. Level 2 is where you learn how to do Reiki on other people. And it's very intense. It's like taking a college course in 3 days, but it will change you. It's awesome.
Is that online or?
No, it's in Ithaca.
Perfect. It's okay, home base. And what about the other sessions you offer?
I offer a Reiki Wisdom Circle, and I also offer a group self-hypnosis session that's 2 hours. And I do private one-on-one past life regression hypnosis.
Beautiful. And you do virtual work too with that, right?
Yes.
Being said?
Yes,
okay,
I do.
good. Just
Yes,
making sure. Like it's not all in person, but we could do
No.
some one-on-ones.
Yes, I can do one-on-ones. You can reach me at Keuka, that's KEUKA, energyarts.com. I'm going to tell you again, KEUKA, energyarts.com, and we can schedule something.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being here, for joining us. As always, great conversation, great topics, and enjoy the rest of your day. And thank you for the little breath work for me today, relaxation during the day. I got to remember to try to do that more because I don't. Thank you for reminding me and our listeners.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Lynn. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
You too.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.